Summer days have been mostly just this. Me in my bed, hot as fuck, with the fan on, and just thinking about life and processing my existence, to be honest. I'm currently doing a deep cleaning of my room, and I'm currently getting rid of a lot of things in my room because I'm trying to make room for the new, so I'm getting rid of the old. And it's been such an interesting process because I did not realize how attached I am to materialistic things, physical things, tangible things. I will say I do resonate with me being a Taurus and needing a stability in my life. And so I also think that it's just because of my childhood and childhood trauma, but that's besides the point. So yeah, I'm getting rid of a lot of things. So I've gotten rid of my mini fridge. I've gotten rid of my stepper that I used a handful of times. I've gotten rid of my chair to my desk. I'm going to be getting rid of my PC because I haven't used it in a very, very long time. And yeah, I'm just kind of processing the fact that I'm super attached to things while getting rid of things. But I really do find myself feeling a lot clearer in terms of like where I am heading in my life. And school is just around the corner. I am going to be in my last year of master's, and after this I will finally be done. And that is really exciting because I can physically feel myself walking that stage, getting my diploma, and not having to think about school ever again, or at least for a while. I don't think there's anything that I really want to do that would require me to go to school. If anything, I will be attending YouTube University in my future. And that is for free. I really am excited for me to be done with school, and I'm really excited to be done with it because I am planning to travel after I graduate. It's so interesting because I really did have a specific path that I thought I was going to take when I first started my journey. Anyways, when I first started my journey in school, I got into school thinking that I was going to become a therapist. And after being in school for 7 years, or nearly 7 years, I realized that that still might be a future for me, but just not in the way that I planned it. So it took a really long time for me to come to terms with that. But what I'm really, really excited for is for me to figure out who I am outside of a career and outside of this kind of linear, rigid expectation for college students. It makes sense because why wouldn't you want to not have financial stability after college? But I've realized that I have only been in these structured environments throughout my whole life, and for it to just lead up to being in a career field for 40 plus years and then retire doesn't necessarily it doesn't feel right to me at this current point in my life. And so I will be traveling after college. I I'm going to be using the platform World Packers that I have recently found. At first I was going to use Workaway, but looking at the differences between the two, I feel more secure with World Packers, and I really do think that is going to be something that will be life-changing for me, especially because I will be absolutely getting out of my comfort zone, traveling by myself, which I've never done before, in terms of like going someplace where I don't know anybody. Well, I guess I did that for school, but still, school is an anchor. This, on the other hand, will be more so of like volunteering opportunities with strangers that I don't know, which I guess in some aspects is kind of similar. But yeah, I'm going to be doing some long-term traveling, and I'm really excited about that. I'm planning to travel for 2 to 3 months, and I'm still kind of deciding where exactly I want to go. Well, I do have 2 places in mind that I will share in the future, and actually I think those will be just the 2, because I don't want to do too much without, I don't know. We'll have to see. The future is unknown and spontaneous, and so it may be completely different than I thought in the future than it is what I'm thinking now. With school coming closer, it does make me nervous because I tend to lose sight of filming while I'm in school. That has been the pattern in the past. I will say, not to jinx it, but I do feel a little bit better this time around, because I feel like I have put a lot of expectations and pressure on myself when it comes to making YouTube videos. There's a whole archive of videos that I have filmed but never edited and never put out into the world, which is ergo why this is called Archive Diaries. Every time that I press record and sit down and edit and upload a video, proves to me that I am making a commitment to myself. And I really do find that powerful, because there's not a lot of things that I commit to in my life. The only thing that I've committed to for real has been school. School's been my longest relationship ever. But my longest relationship, no matter what, will be with myself. And so showing that commitment to myself makes me feel better about myself and makes me trust myself more. And so there's just a simple mind shift that I needed to make when it comes to YouTube videos, because I do think there needs to be a little bit of effort, but it doesn't have to be super extreme. I always felt like I needed the right equipment, the right editing software, the right time, or the me now doesn't look great, but if I work on myself, then the me later will be worthy of being seen. And I really do think that the fear of being seen is such a limiting belief that puts us in a box and doesn't allow us to flourish in the ways that we are meant to flourish and thrive in our life. And I also think it coincides with the idea of your success is on the other side of feeling embarrassed or feeling cringe. And that's something that I have to constantly work on, because that's a deeply rooted trauma that I have. And so the feeling of being embarrassed or being cringe is so small. It doesn't really matter. Yet it controls our day-to-day life, which I find so interesting. And I do think that there's a level of care that I have to how people perceive me. I think it was Will Smith that said this, but in a way, how people perceive you is limited to their own experiences and their upbringing. If I can find the clip, I'll put it in right here.
Self-esteem is about yourself. But we start looking to other people for our self-esteem. And, sometimes we find ourselves looking in broken mirrors to get a reflection of ourselves. And the greatest tragedy is when you look into a broken mirror to see if you're pretty, and you're gonna let that person tell you about your inner qualities. Man.
So at the end of the day, it really does matter what you think about yourself. And even if people are looking at you and people have things to say about you, it really doesn't matter. And I think this is what I was going into, but it really doesn't matter what they say. You really only have to worry about like the people who are closest to you and who actually know you, and taking their perspective into consideration. But at the end of the day, you have the final say of who you are. While decluttering through my room, I had to declutter my digital space too. And with that came a lot of videos that I have made since 2020. And I think at some point in my life, I will edit those videos and post them. Those will be the true archive diaries right there. But I think that I look at myself and I know that I'm 25, but I don't feel like I'm 25. But looking back at those old videos, seeing when I was like 19, it was just such a enlightening experience for me, because I have felt as though, even though I don't feel like I'm 25, I know that I've changed. And like, yeah, obviously I've changed. But when you're going through the motions of life and you're just going through life, and throughout the years you're just doing it, you don't realize how far you've actually come. And even just looking at myself when I was skinnier and all these things, I realized that even though I was skinnier, one, I didn't even feel like I was skinny. I wasn't happy at all. I was very depressed. I was living in a household that was draining my energy, to be honest. And I would say that, if you have the means to, and if you have the capability to, and if the household that you're living in, especially family households, if that is hindering your experience in life, to leave as soon as you can. I was able to do it because I was going to school, and luckily I had money saved up too. And obviously I did have to take out student loans, which is another thing, but I don't want to talk about it. But I think that when you leave a household that you've been in for a long time into your own space, it is absolutely life-changing. And I think once I turned, 22? I was 22 when I moved out. And I feel like that's when things started to kind of shift for me. And now being 25, I really feel like I am in a new chapter, or starting a new chapter in my life. of learning more about who I am and becoming more of myself is really what I'm striving for. I think I'm going to end the video here. But yeah, this was just like a ramble video, which I will probably do a lot more because it will be a little bit easier to record. Thank you so much for watching. If you like to keep up with my videos, you can always subscribe and turn on those post notifications. And until next time.